calm. But if something goes wrong, or someone feeds or something like that, or you misplay, or there's a situation you haven't seen before, or something like that, right? Don't care about it. If you die, it doesn't matter, right? If your team start flaming, you just mute. You're never going to see these people again, right? I mean, you might see these people again, but these people have like mental issues. The best way to think of someone who's like flames you consistently over games is that they literally have mental problems, and all you do to them, right, is you just link them like a mental institute, right? That's it. You send them, like, dude, you need to get checked out, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Now, the another way, by the way, to stop people from like inting your games on purpose, or if you find someone over and they're like, "Oh, you threw my last game, I'm gonna kill," like people say that shit, right? The best way to stop that is to have multiple second accounts, right? So you can just swap over to another account, right, and they won't know it's you. Does that make sense? That's the best way, and that's one of the reasons why every pro player has like 5 separate accounts, because at high rank, like top 500, if you do something, everyone knows it's you, right? So you have to swap an account so then people don't know it's you, and you can just play like normally as if you were like a random person. You're not getting judged for having to do well. You're not getting flamed for like throwing the last. Do you see what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
That's the first reason. The second reason people have second accounts, not Smurf accounts, there's a big difference, right? People say second accounts, they think, oh, it's just a Smurf. No, Smurf accounts will never. The word Smurf account didn't exist before 2012, right? That's when I first heard it being used. Okay. Before that, you would just call it a second account. What second account means is another account you have that's the same level. A Smurf account means you're getting a new account to play against noobs and destroying them, right? That's just a waste of time. You'll end up being worse at the game eventually because you're picking up noob stuff, and it's just terrible for the game, right? Second accounts are fine. This just means you have another account that's the same rank, and it's just something to switch over to. What a second account allows you to do is it allows you to go onto this account and just reset your mindset. You go on this account and you just think, right, new account, new me. I've reset my mindset. I'm in this. No one knows who I am, right? I'm just on this account and everything's fresh. So it calms you back down. And on the second account, you cannot care about if you win or lose. It's a second account. You could drop to bronze. Doesn't matter. It's a second account. You could just be like, oh, I was just practicing something, right? I was practicing how to play a character or something like that, right? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I really, really recommend second accounts to everyone. And that's what I say. Pro players have like 5 each, right? I had 5. Okay. Having 5, I mean, you don't have to have 5 exactly, but at least have 1. You'll get more eventually, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't care about your rank on this second account, which means if you don't care, you don't panic, which means if you don't care and you don't panic, it also means you don't tilt. Oh, I've just lost 2 games in a row. Doesn't matter. It's on my second account. I could lose 20 games in a row. Really doesn't matter. I could go back down to like diamond. Really doesn't matter. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
You're not caring about the rank at all. So, and this is why I hate about like League of Legends and Riot. Riot like forces you to only have one account. Like it's like IP bait, and Riot is the worst company ever made. Like, don't even get me started about how bad Riot is, right? And League, it is awful. But anyway, they force you onto only one account, right? And they don't realize, because they're just such a business, they have no idea about this, right? They don't realize that second accounts are a legitimate tool used by people to basically reset their mental. It's like they don't even know, right? We won't go into Riot anymore, how bad they are. But anyway, yeah, second accounts, fine. Smurfs, that's when it's bad. But if you have a good game, if your game is actually good, League of Legends, right? If your game is actually good, if you had a second account within 5 matches, like unranked matches, you would be at your skill level that you were on your main account. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you actually had a good game and a good system, second accounts wouldn't do anything bad, which is why Jeff has said himself, we allow second accounts, right? They allow it, right? They don't allow Smurfs, but, people do stuff to get past this system, and they fake playing worse, for example, and stuff like that. And we don't know how to fix that at the moment. But anyway, yeah, second accounts, absolutely fine, and they're actually good. And another good game that does this is Dota as well, like the equivalent of League. They're incredible at putting you into your correct rank after like 5 games. It's like nothing, right? Even if it's unranked or ranked, whatever, you're in the correct rank almost immediately. And this is fine. This allows you to create second accounts, and it has all the benefits I just told you. So can you think of any disadvantage
to having second accounts?
Yeah.
You might spread yourself too thin, but like that's SR related.
What do you mean spread yourself too thin?
Yeah. Like you split your playtime so you don't climb, but that's
not how it works. That's not how it works. Yeah, that's just not how it works. The thing is, as well, as I just said, if the game system is good, right, you'll get to the SR almost. You'll just win every game, right? And if you're on a second account and you're just winning every game, you're gonna get back to your original rank anyway. It doesn't really matter, and you're probably gonna be placed at the original rank in the first place, right? Unless you're playing like an off roll or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is not a problem. You don't need playtime, right? You need to get that out of your mind, because if you think, oh, I need like loads and loads of like playtime on one account, right, you're going to get bored of the game, and this is exactly what you wanted to avoid, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if your playtime is spread out on accounts. You're not playing for playtime. You're not playing for SR. It doesn't matter. You're playing to like improve yourself. Does that kind of make sense? And if you are improving yourself and you're not getting tilted, you will climb with little playtime. If you're losing games, right, because you're like on a second account or whatever, or you're trying something new and you think, oh no, I'm going to play against worse people now, so I'm not going to improve as much. This isn't how it works. This is your mind getting tilted. If you were good enough to be at the rank, you would be at the rank, right? And you would just win all games in a row. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Some games are just losable. You start out and there's an enemy cheater, or you start out and there's someone trolling on your team. This does happen, but it's even on both teams. It's even, right? It's actually less likely, by the way, that your team has a troll, because think about it. There's 5 other players on your team and there's 6 on the enemy team. It's less likely that you have a troll, but it balances it out to 50% because of the cheaters. It's more likely the enemy has a cheater, and it's less likely you have a troll. It balances out to about 50%. What I'm trying to say is, right, yes, you will get some of these games, and let's say everyone in the world apart from you was a cheater, right? Yeah, then the game is fucked, right? But that's not even your problem at that point, right? You can, by the way, you can actually beat cheaters quite like easily if it's a bad cheater, if their positioning is bad. You can't cheat positioning, right? So if their positioning is bad, you just pick like tanks and just dive the cheater first, right? It's actually quite easy to beat them, okay? But if they're good positioning and they cheat, I mean, this is when they become top contenders. I won't name some of you players, but yeah, there are some of you players that got to like top contenders with their own cheats. Some of them admitted it, some of them still haven't. But anyway. Yeah, if you write your own cheats, the system can't detect you, because that's how anti-cheat systems basically work. It's like an antivirus, right? If an antivirus knows the virus because it's already been discovered, blah blah blah, it can ban you instantly. If it's a new system and the antivirus or the virus hasn't been discovered yet because it's brand new or you coded it, it's not going to ban you. It's just not going to know it even exists, right? So yeah, I'm not saying write your own cheats. No. This is how it works, though. People get through systems by writing their own cheats or variants, and anti-cheat systems just don't pick them up. But in the future, with AI, right, there's basically going to be self-learning anti-cheat systems that basically learn different variations of like cheating. It's just right. This is the future. Okay, I mean, I'm in that sector as well. I do like cybersecurity, and yeah, you'll see anti-cheat systems become a lot better. But then also cheaters will also become a lot better. There's always like a two-sided coin, right, to this. Okay, but yeah. What I'm trying to say is, more likely to have a cheater on the other team, but it's less likely to have a troll. If you just play, it doesn't matter. You don't care about how many games you need to play. Just play to try your best and to do what? What did I say at the start of this session that you can do?
Like
after one rank game.
Yeah, what
exactly. Mm-hmm. Improving is fun, right? That's what you need to know. Improving is fun. When you realize, like, damn, I just outplayed this person, or wow, I'm way better at this rank, or oh, I'm winning SR, right? Oh, I finally made it top 500. That is fun.
Yeah.
It will come. The fun comes automatically from your self-improvement. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, you need to know how to self-improve, and that's what, like, I guess coaching is for. That's what, like, actually, knowing different elements. You might not even know something about the game. Like, for example, when I was coaching Ed, right? I was coaching Ed with like Widow. Sorry to use this as an example, but most Widow players don't even realize that there's like Venom mines are even that good, right? They think it's just kind of useless, right? It's just, and it is a pretty terrible skill if you just look at it. But once you kind of open your mind and like realize that actually everything has more depth than you think, and you might just glance over it, or you might even think about it because you think it's useless, you will then realize, oh shit, wait, actually this has a skill cap to it. I just didn't even realize it before. And that's what's like super interesting, and because of that, becomes super fun. Yeah. So yeah. I've already told you some ways to make like the game fun as well. about the aim arena, aim training, 1v1 arena, blah blah blah. Don't just grind ranked. You don't have to. Oh, another really cool one that's fun that might get you back into the game is the what's it called? What's the game mode where you're on? I think it's on like Hollywood, the first one, where it's like one room. It's called like one room or something.
Yeah, like
where it's
Tiny Overwatch.
That's it.
Yeah, tiny.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right?
Yeah, it's
Tiny
really fun.
Overwatch. It might just seem like mental. It's like, how does it? You're just spamming buttons. If you play Tiny Overwatch but genuinely try to stay alive for like the whole match, right? It actually takes skill. As long as it's a team Tiny Overwatch. If it's just Tiny Overwatch, like free for all, I think that's just stupid. It's just like too much, and the place is too small. But try Team Tiny Overwatch. There is actual skill to it, right? Genuinely, it sounds stupid, but it's a good like break, and it kind of gets you back into like the game and having fun. See what I mean?
Yeah.
It might be something that you enjoy.
Yeah,
But yeah. So Team Tiny Overwatch, good thing to kind of try. Right. That yeah. So there's a lot of stuff there in order to like kind of get you kind of back into the game so you enjoy it again. And yeah, for tilting, as you said, you kind of get like burned out, you tilt, just swap to a second account. It really, really helps. First of all, don't care about SR. Don't care. If you don't care about ranked or anything that isn't scrims, super, super useful at just not tilting. I don't want you. The problem is I don't want you to get bored because you end up not caring about anything and then you just get bored. That's not how it works, right? You don't care about the SR. There's certain elements you don't care about. You only care about you improving. You don't care about anything else. It's just you becoming like, literally imagine if you're like the best Genji in the world and you're like destroying people, or even the best Echo. Being the best Echo in the world is a lot easier. And imagine if you're the best Echo in the world, like how cool that would be. That's kind of what you need to look up to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it can happen, and especially with scrims, it makes it way easier to like improve. But anyway, let's go through this replay now.
Yeah, well, like Aston, I think we're looking through this game in the coaching session tomorrow. The Gibraltar script.
Okie dokie, that's fine.
Like,
Oh, wait, are we?
I'm not sure.
It's
people
math.
discussed it.
It's math coaching. But yeah.
So
Which map is he going through?
To my knowledge,
think it's
is
Gibraltar.
it's Gibraltar. But I mean,
That's fine.
in
What's
general,
another map that you guys struggled on, or you struggled on, Shimada?
Like, it might be Busan. I think we struggled on certain parts of it, or I might not remember it correctly.
How could this happen to me?
Okay. Is this the one?
Yeah, we can do this one.
Are you Christian?
I'm Christian. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. So first things first. What I've told these guys this literally every time a replay starts. I've said this every time, but you probably haven't been here for them. What's the first thing you do? Okay, what's the first thing you do before you even leave spawn?
Like select comp.
Right. Yeah. So what does that mean? Like analyze your team comp, right? Figure out what type of comp it is. So what's your type of comp?
Like brawl.
Yep. So I call it rush, brawl, whatever.
Rush.
Right. Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So knowing what type of comp you have is important to know how you should play your character. Obviously, if your character's like only a brawl character, like Mei, right? Mei is not a spam character. She's not a dive character. She's kind of chaos because she has her own healing, right? Did I ever tell you about like the chaos comp?
Like comps that. Yeah. No, you haven't told me about it.
Oh, okay, because you haven't been here for that. So chaos comps are comps that have like no main tank. It's usually like bull hog. I mean, bull is a main tank, but it's no shields is a better way to explain it. The whole point of a chaos comp with like the bull hog is you just take 1v1s. Everyone just goes off and does their own thing, and you just take loads of little 1v1s everywhere. And basically characters that are better in 1v1s or that can CC a lot are better in those comps. Because obviously if you have self-sustain like a Mei, really good in that sort of comp because you can heal yourself in a 1v1 and sustain for longer on flanks and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I mean, Mei is not that good of a flanker. She's just pretty good there. But yeah, Mei is a rush hero. So Mei is a kind of an exception as well. So if you do pick her, you know kind of what your plan is. So that's the first thing. Know what your comp is and how you're going to play it. What's the second thing? Ed, do you want to explain the second thing that I always tell you guys? The second thing you do. You've scouted your comp. What's the next thing to do?
Scout their comp.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And you probably know that, Shimada, right? Scout their comp. But this isn't just, wait until someone says their comp or press tab. No. The problem with tab is it doesn't get revealed immediately. You need to know earlier than that what type of comp they have. And what are some ways to know what type of comp they have? And everyone should know this. So you should all figure it out for yourself, not get told it.
Like listening to audio cues.
Exactly,
maybe.
that's a big one, right? Listening to like footsteps. If you hear like a big like, stomping, it's probably Reinhardt, right? Well, I mean, you know what Reinhardt's footsteps sound like and stuff like that. That'll be one there, and also scouting where the enemies are going. So if they're all coming through main, great. But you also look to the side and every so often see if you see like a Genji or a Tracer like flanking or something like that, just so you know what their type of comp is. Like, is it full rush or is it you need to? So basically, the most important things to know are what the tanks are, so that allows you to know what their comp is, and then secondly it's what the DPS are to know if they have any like flankers or anything like that, right? Or walls and stuff like that. Yeah. So if you were Mei, how would you play against Rush?
Like look for good walls to like split the Reinhardt from like
so wall behind the Reinhardt. Yep, wall behind the Reinhardt. That's the simplest way to play Mei. Great. Now, what if you're playing Rush with Mei and you're against Spam?
You can deny angles. You can just wall in front of them, so they you can get you can push.
Yep. So actually, right? Let's go to the thing. So what you do? Let's say there was a spam comp like here, and they're all set up with Orisa, not even Bastion, Orisa, whatever. It's just a bunch of them all here, right?
Yeah.
What you do is you can do a wall like that, right? If it's like a Bastion, a wall like that can protect. Like, you know, you'd have to destroy each individual segment before you could see your team, and your team kind of runs in the wood, and then you break it as soon as you get to there. Or you can, just as you said, do a wall in front of them like that, and it allows you to get some space in front, like to actually make some space and get there quicker to the enemy team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's how you'd play against spam, right? Wall off their kind of like angles, their spam angles, so your team can get closer without taking as much damage. And finally, how do you play Mei against dive?
I'm not sure. I haven't played it much against dive.
Right. So against dive, what's the purpose of dive? Like, let's say they have a dive comp with like Wrecking Ball or Winston Diva, with like Anna Lucio, with like, I don't know, Genji, a soldier or something. I don't know. I'm just making random heroes, right?
Yeah.
What's their objective?
Like might be to coordinate dives. To
jump into your team as your team and making rotations, or isolate targets that are solo. But the first tip I ever give to everyone is if you're against dive, never split up. There's two tips. There's always go inside, and there's never split up. That's how you beat dive, and you don't even have to do anything for that. It's just to do with positioning, right? That's how you beat dive the best. But they will still try and dive you as you're making rotations to get to the point, or rotations to move, right? That's when you're going to get dive. So you need to stay together for those. But this is what's going to happen. Your team is a group. You're going to get jumped in by the Winston or the Bull with a slam plus the Diva or something like that. What you do is, let's say there's an Anna there, Lucio there, maybe Soldier, and then there's like Genji, Diva, here, right? And your team is like this square. Okay?
Yeah.
Wall off the healing. That's what you do with wall. And left click the target that's being called. Okay? That's literally all you need to do is Mei. That's it. Right, your shift is just there, like that you can use basically if you're about to die, maybe, or you get antied or something like that. Right, but if you ward off the healing, then you wall off the anti as well. You don't even need to do that, and you can just use it in an emergency. Right. Other than that, left click, just left click the tanks. Right. The first primary focus is going to be a tank most of the time. Right.
Yeah.
Just left click the tank, get them frozen. Right. Now I think it's a bit different between Winston and Bull. If it's Winston, right, walling off this healing is fine. If it's Bull, you can actually wall off as he's trying to run away, like wall off. So if he's trying to roll away, you put a wall there so he can't roll away, and then you continue to freeze him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it against Bull. The Winston one, you can wall off the healing. And if it's like none or they're dead or something like that, wall off the healing is like the kind of standard default. Okay?
Yeah.
And by the way, if there's an Anna here, right, and your team is here, this square, yeah?
Yeah.
How would you wall off that healing?
Just if the blue one is the opposing Anna.
Yep.
Just put a wall in front of her. So
what, like this?
If that's the Anna.
Yeah, fine. But why not just put a wall here?
It
Basically,
it denies.
I do understand. Yeah, so I do understand that putting a wall here means she can walk out, right, and get a better angle. But if she does that, she dies, right? She doesn't want to walk in as with dive. She doesn't want to do that. The only other disadvantage is there's going to be open areas like here and here. So if the enemies roll that way or move that way, they'll be able to get healing. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The benefit of a wall closer to you means that the enemies, like the enemy Winston or Bull, can't roll in this direction. Whereas if you put a wall here, this wall means nothing against a Bull or a Winston. Does that make sense? So you can block off a Bull and block his roll. You can block off healing to a Bull and block off the way he's rolling simultaneously, right? With a good wall. As long as he doesn't roll through you. Does that make sense? But yeah, so that's one thing that you can definitely try out as well. And that's how you play against Dive as Mei. Yeah?
Yeah.
Finally, it's Chaos, and as Chaos, you take off angles as Mei and just take 1v1s. And if a team is running into you as Mei, you wall off and just run, get out of there fast. You wall them off and get out of there as fast as you can. But yeah, Chaos is like when you have the ball hog. You don't really see Meis in that comp anyway, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So, what's the choke for this map now? There's two, right? The first one's this doorway, obvious. What's the second one?
The doorway closer to Chemist.
Yep, yeah, these two. That's the choke, right? What should your team do here?
That I'm not sure of. What you're.
Right, do you think rush into them with the Lucia speed boost? Do you think wait here? Which one? There's only two options. Those are the two things you can do.
Like probably more like the waiting since we have the Mei and they don't.
Yep. Even if you didn't have Mei, why is it bad to rush into them?
Because now we are the one going through the choke.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah? You don't want to push through a choke, right? So if you're ever about to run through a choke, it's just a bad play. Especially if they have a Mei as well. But even if they don't, right? You don't want to have to force yourself through a choke. But the benefit is, right, this choke is almost as a whole team speed boost and jump over this thing and on top of them. That's better, right? But because you have a Mei, you don't want to do that. The whole point of having a Mei is you want to utilize chokes. So you wait until they go through a choke. Does that make sense? That's how you win that. Or you just split off the Rhine, as you said. So if you didn't have a Mei, though, do what I said. Jump over that place. It's a lot better. So while you're waiting, just spam them out. What are you shooting? The shield or people?
I should aim for people to try to get ult charge, probably.
Yeah, but the problem is you need to know what your team's plan is, right? If you're shooting the shield so the Reinhardt dies and has to back off, great. If he drops his shield, definitely shoot the Rhine, right? Get him low. He's going to be scared. He's going to back up, and that gives you more map control.
Yeah.
Right. What's something that can happen if you guys are all here?
The Reaper takes the flank.
Whose job do you think this is?
Like the Lucio or Kree?
Yep,
perhaps?
It's Lucio. Kree as well, yes. So it's not your job, okay? But this doesn't mean you should ignore him. What do you do if it's not your job?
I might fire a right click at him, try to force him away.
No, waste of your attention and resources. If you notice him to the left, what should you do?
Call him out.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, right? And why do you think it's good to call him out, even if if your teammates have already seen him?
To make sure everybody seems to know you should focus,
to make sure everyone knows he's there, right? What if your Lucio doesn't know that? Do you see what I mean? Again, when I was playing Lucio and I was against rush comps like this, the worst thing ever was when there was a flanking Reaper and no one told me, right? Sometimes I just wouldn't hear because I was distracted or stuff like that, right? We aren't perfect players, okay? So calling it out for the Lucio, you can even say Lucio's name, by the way. You can say, Lucio, there's a Reaper. Like that. That makes him know it's his job, okay? Because Cheese might not know this, right? But yeah, it's his job to boop the Reaper back, boop him off the edge, boop him back, whatever, okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, just call it out, that's it, and then continue shooting the people at main like this. Also, see, you heard the Reaper and you went for a left click like that. It's just, you can look to the left between shots. Don't shoot. I mean, you can shoot to left if you really want to. It's like a waste of a shot. That shot could be used to do extra damage to the shield, and that does make a difference if you're having a shield war. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good wall there. Really good wall there, and that's a free kill, right? So you know now, right? What the enemy team is going to do to run into you is they're going to speed into you, right, and get a really quick thing. So you need to. That's why, by the way, I say don't look to the left. Because if you look to the left and the enemy's speed in, you might miss your opportunity. Does that make sense? You need to be always looking ready for them to speed in. But where else could they speed in from?
The left side.
Yeah, they could speed in from the left side. So that's why as May, you shouldn't be. Honestly, in my opinion, the best place to be is kind of like in between, like here or something like that. So you can jump up and wall off their team, or jump there and wall off their team. But when you're here, though, if you're going for shots on the enemy, you have to like kind of jump up and shoot them, and then you might get like booped or headshotted or something like that. So it's like a kind of best of both, and you need to kind of be sure you know which way they're coming from. But remember this: if they come from the left side, what advantage does that give your team? If they come from the left side here, this is another choke, technically, right? So you can wall off this one. See what I mean? So it doesn't actually matter if they come from the left side. If it's a really good enemy team, right? What they do is they basically make sure that you're looking, the maze looking one direction, and they go like here, bait out they're going here, and then go like around like that or something ridiculous. All their plan is, if you're against a May, your whole plan is to bait out a wall by like faking directions to go, basically. Right? And that's kind of like the main tank's job. Okay, because as soon as the wall comes out, the May advantage is like disappeared, right? And then you run in, you've got a Reaper versus a May, Reaper wins. Okay. Yeah. You're never going to be able to freeze anyone if the enemy team just run in and kill you too quickly before the freeze even comes off. Okay.
Yeah.
Especially if they force out like a left shift from you. I mean, you're just dead. Okay. But yeah, good wall here because you knew they were coming this way, but they're not always going to come that way. They might do what I said, left side, but then there's another choke here. As long as your chemist doesn't call for you guys to run into them like that past this choke, then you lose the choke advantage. And at that point, what would you do with wall?
Use it like defensively. Like
no, just use it to split off the Rhine. Yeah, just use it to split off the Rhine normally without the choke advantage. But that's okay. It's not terrible. It's still a good wall. But yeah, that was really good wall reaction there, and that is a massive misplay. I don't know how that happened. Like, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Anna missed the nade. Maybe Lucio didn't boop him properly. Maybe there was no bubble. You guys need to run. You can't hold this. You can't. If Orion is dead, the fight is lost. You can't hold this, right? The first thing you guys need to do if your Orion is dead is back up all the way almost to spawn. I mean, oh yeah, your Orion got hit. Back up to your Reinhardt, right? And play it as if it was the starting fight again. So you can play it here again. To see what I mean? Because your Ryan's here. Don't be in front of him and expect him to make it back in time. Okay? Because if the enemy team were fast, they could have already gone in and killed you by now. They're stalling, right? Look, the Reaper and the McCree have moved to the left. It's just like if they just ran in, you guys would be dead by now. I don't think the Lucio's even speed boosted on the enemy team. So he hasn't even speed boosted. If they did, you guys would be dead now. Okay? So this is kind of both teams' misplay. Don't think you can make it there in time. And yeah, they don't even run in. They just go to the left. That's their misplay, really. How do you know the team's going the other way?
I think we had someone scouting, but like the sound cues.
Yep. Yeah. So always have a Lucio up here. When I was Lucio, this is where I played, right? Yeah. Because you can see which way they're rotating. Yeah. And other than that, if they do go in main, you can just speed boost and jump over there or jump this side, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, tell Lucio to go here. I mean, again, if Lucio watches Cheesy, if you watch this replay, this is your default spot. As soon as you want to fight, this is your default spot. Okay. Now, what's the wall here? Obviously, it's this doorway. Yeah. This is the most obvious thing. It's just a choke. But they might bait it and go back to the right. This is why you have a Lucio here. If the Lucio's here, even if they go to the left, he wouldn't jump off, right, and go there. He doesn't need to. He's an aura. The moment they start to come in, that's when he jumps off. He can get there, and you can actually aura your team from here, right? You can aura that Ryan from here, right? And one wall jump off and you're there in a 0.1 second. So that you need someone up here. If it's a Lucio or anyone else that can get up here. But because it's only Lucio, the Lucio needs to be up here to stop this from happening because they're just going to bait you out here.
Yeah.
Good wall there. Really good wall. Who should you go after?
Anna.
Yes, go after Anna and Reaper. I mean, your team might not even know Reaper's here, so this is your job to scout it or just say, oh, there's a Reaper behind us. Lucio, go after him, right? And again, Lucio went after the Anna, and that was good from him. He now needs to go after the Reaper. Not actually in his face, just boop him away, that's it. Because now this Reaper can go... I mean, this Reaper should have just run in. Really, really should have just run in. If Reaper just ran in there, he could have got a kill on that Anna, anything, and distracted your whole team. He had shift. He had shift as well. That just, misplay from the enemy Reaper there. Okay. You need to get up fast. Don't chase after a Reaper as well as May. You don't need to do chases like this, right? Again, technically Lucio's job again. Lucio has to be. This is why, right? The hardest comp for Lucio to play in is Rush, and why he was there, because he needs to do so much, right?
Yeah.
His literary job is scouting and picking off people that are by themselves, and this happens a lot with bad teams, right? I mean, you've seen this. Reaper's done it both fights, right? He's gone off by himself, and I mean, in this fight, Anna was split. Lucio needs to be there, everywhere, whatever. You don't need to go after this chase. And again, this Reaper got out anyway. It's not. You don't need to be there to kill him. If you kill that Reaper, what advantage does it give you?
A few seconds of extra time.
It gives like a few seconds at max, but it gives you like what 7% ult charge, right?
Yeah.
It's not nothing that requires. I mean, you've literally given up your position and your wall positioning just to chase after Reaper. It's just a complete waste of time, right? And if you didn't have the Lucio speed boost with you, you wouldn't even make it back in time. But yeah, look at this. You can't even wall properly, and the enemy team's pushing in now, all because you chased after Reaper. It's not your job. You don't have to do it. Don't get baited by the wall. Okay, good, really good wall. What I was gonna say is, don't get baited. Don't get baited, because what good Ryans do is what they'll do is they walk in here. They'll walk in and walk out immediately, right? Pretend to walk in. What I would say is, what tells you that the enemy team is committing? What thing tells you the enemy team is committing and about to all run in?
When like some abilities can go off, like the rank.
What? In my opinion, the biggest one is when the Ryan starts moving really fast. Because what does that mean?
That he has a speed boost.
Yep, that an amped speed boost has been used, right?
Yeah.
If you see an amped speed boost being used, 99.9% of the time that's them going in. You don't bait with an amped speed boost. You just don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's another good way to know.
Yep.
By the way, have you noticed, or did you know that like this map is awful? This point, right? To recontest, this is the hardest point to recontest in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you recontest this properly if you guys are on defense? If you guys are a red team?
Might want to bait them, like go under for 2 point, force point.
Yep. Yeah. You can go under, bait them, right? So you could go right side here, and then go here, and then under, and then go up like that. Yeah. Basically, the only way you recontest point properly is to do the ultimate bait. Basically, go one way, then go the other way, then like swap out and speed boost at one point to just get in there quickly. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's one way. Another way, by the way, is just to get a rush comp with like a tracer, have the tracer on the point so that someone has to come back and contest. If you have a tracer on the point and then someone comes back to contest, like the McCree or whatever, right? They lost a character, and then the tracer just caps the point. It's what I was saying yesterday about, remember Volskaya, where your whole objective is to just cap the point and get the enemies to run onto the point. Yeah?
Yeah.
You can do that on here as well. And Trace is a good character for that, because she can get there really quick and she can survive on the point for longer. But I'm going to tell you one thing about why this map is so bad. These.
The RNG.
It just makes it so RNG about whether it's easy to contest the point or not. If you're a tracer and you're trying to contest the point and these things are down, right, McCree can just come up here and just shoot you and kill you. If you're a tracer and these things are up, you can just hide here and the McCree can't kill you.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? And then if the McCree goes over here, you can just move to this one. So these things are great if they're up and absolutely terrible if they're down. And it's just RNG. Yeah. I hate it, right? It's awful. Yeah. So it's like, it basically decides whether you can recontest a point. And it's just like, I mean, pro teams even know their timing, right? Of when they go up and down. Even I don't know that. I just, if it's something that bad, I just refuse to even learn it. I mean, I know that's terrible, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you don't see them there, they're going to come left side. Also, by the way, another thing that the enemy team are doing, what do you think their mistake is when they're like taking these angles? Watch this again. If they're going on a flank or they're going somewhere else that you guys aren't, what's their big mistake that they keep on doing? Watch it again.
They used amp early, maybe?
No, they just look how slow they wait. Look. They're all split. Ryan goes here and he has to stop. If you have to stop ever, you're too slow. How you do this properly as a team, right, is you come out of spawn, right? You come left side here, and then right here, you decide which side you want to go. Even before, as you're coming up, you say, your main tank or you, right, says under, right, or left. And what you do is you amp speed and just go immediately without stopping from spawn once, right? If you get out fast enough, all as a massive group, the enemy can't wall you off and can't get you from that, right? So the whole reason Mei is so good is because bad teams that are really bad at like staying together, like from spawn, gives you so much time to wall them off. But if it's a good team, Mei is not even that good, right? If you do this properly, but yeah, that's how you beat that. You've had all the time in the world to do that, and yeah, here they sent out the Reaper first, so that was their kind of like. That was their good play for sending out the Reaper first. Don't panic and wall off the Reaper immediately. You need to see who's actually come out. Yeah, this was a bit of a wasted blizzard there, but it was a bit too much going on. So the first mistake that happened was your wall, right? You walled off a Reaper. If a Reaper comes through, you can't wall him off. It's the only character where it's like, don't bother walling him off. The rest, wall off, but always wait until 2 people have come through. Okay, that's how you make that. But if they're all really, really grouped up, it's really hard to do that. If they're all like as a massive pack group like this, all you have to do is wall in the middle of them, right? And it's gonna split some people off automatically. Okay, that's how you do that. Okay, but yeah, that's perfect timing that is required from you. Let's see what happens here. Your team splits up. Basically, Reaper presses shift and goes into your back line. How does he go over there? Does he? Oh, he TPs. Yeah, he TPs.
Yeah.
This is a really good play from him, actually, because he TP'd in the middle of a shatter, but he's like 1 HP. And Anna missed her sleep. That was it. Anna didn't see the thing, missed the sleep, and didn't nade, I don't think. Oh, she probably did nade, actually. Yeah. She did nade, because she would have naded at the start of the fight. Bit of a waste. Well, actually, it's not a waste, because you want to purple them, so it was a good nade from her. But yeah, missing a sleep was pretty bad here. The stun kill, though, was perfect. The beat was a bit... Well, the beat is actually pretty good there. I would say it's a bit late for the Anna, but again, you wouldn't really know that as Lucio unless you're, up here and doing this thing that I said, which is still really good. I love that play. And the high noon counters the beat. So basically what happened here, the turn of events or the order of events was
I walled off the Reaper, he raped in TP.
Yeah, I'm talking about ultimates here. So basically what happened was Shatter came out, missed. Don't shatter a missed shatter ever. I'm talking this to Chemist, not how you use shatter, right? The biggest mistake noobs make, right? Not noobs, right? The biggest mistake new players or whatever make, right, is they see a shatter from the enemy, Ryan, and then they counter with their own shatter. It's going to get blocked 99% of the time. The first reaction from mitting a shatter is to shield as a Reinhardt, right? Just save it for like 10 seconds, right? And then shatter in the middle. Okay, so both shatters wasted here. Yeah. Then what happened was Reaper used his ult. So Reaper's ult was countered by your beat. Your beat was countered by McCree ult, and I don't think any other ults were used here immediately. So what do you counter? How do you counter McCree's ult?
Wall.
No. So I'm talking about ult counters to counter ults. How do you counter McCree's ult out of your ults that you have? Mei ult. It's Mei ult. Yeah, because he can't move, right? So he's going to get frozen. Even if he fires and kills everyone, he's going to get frozen, right? So that's a guaranteed like blizzard. Obviously, if you can use your wall as well, right? Really good, but you don't have wall ready. So Mei ult while you're beated is what you should have done here. You should have Mei ulted while running off to the side, and then he would have had to cancel his high noon or use it early, right? Otherwise, he's going to get frozen, or use it and get frozen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what you should have done here. Remember, when an ult comes out, you counter it with one of your ults. So the order now: Shatter countered by Shatter. Well, okay, it's not countered by Shatter. It's just an automated reaction. How do you actually counter an enemy Shatter? What move do you use?
Block it.
So you either beat it. I'm talking about ultimates. You beat it if the thing doesn't get shattered, or you high noon it. That's how you counter those, right? So, and what happened was the beat came out, right? But I think the beat was for the Reaper ult, because what happened was the shatter was countered by the shatter. So then Reaper was like, okay, I need to use my Reaper ult. So Reaper ulted, which was countered by the beat a bit too late because the Anna died, right? Yeah. Then the beat was countered by the high noon. The high noon should be countered by your blizzard. Your blizzard should be countered by the Lucio ultimate, which doesn't really counter it, but it counters it a bit. And then you counter the Lucio ultimate with your high noon. Do you see what I mean? There's always a counter, and then you win that, right? Why do you win that? Because you're at an ultimate advantage. This is why, by the way, having an ultimate advantage in Overwatch is literally insane. Because if you counter each ult with another ult, the team that has more ultimates just wins. And then you've used all these ultimates and you've lost. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
This is why kind of ultimates in Overwatch is just so like OP and so like just to decide fights pretty much, right? Because there's always one thing that counts as another thing. And do you see that kind of line of ultimates that ends up in your team winning because you have more? You understand how they all counter that, right?
Yeah, how we should have won it with our advantage. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, the mistake was actually your mistake, where your blizzard was saved. You used it too late. The moment you see the high noon, throw the blizzard onto him while hiding, and then come back out to kill him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's too late. He's still charging the high noon. Chemist drops his shield, and basically Chemist gets his shield dropped because he gets pinned, right? Yeah, if you would have blizzarded the moment you heard high noon, this McCree would have been frozen. Watch it again. Watch it again.
Yeah.
Watch how McCree uses high noon for the beat. Just watch. Oh, okay, he doesn't. They use it at the same time. Okay,
Yeah.
this is both a misplay from both sides, right? Well, not really. It's not even a misplay from Cheese. It's mainly a misplay from this McCree. He's just using it because he wants to use it, not how you use ultimates properly. Okay, he got lucky in this. This is why you lost, by the way. He literally got lucky, and that's why you lost. Okay, but yeah, right now a blizzard should be thrown at him. He would be frozen right before this works because he has to wait for the Ryan's pin. Right, and by the time the enemy Ryan pins your Ryan, right, he has to wait for that, and by the time that happens, he's frozen, right?
Yeah.
At least, right? Or what happens as well is even if he does get it right, and two of your teammates die, your May ult here would freeze 3 people, and this is a 1 May ult fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you get the McCree in that, but yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not a waste to use May ult, but use it as early as possible. Okay, you can even start with May ult, by the way, if you really want to. I know you didn't have it, but that's one thing kind of option you have as well, to actually start the fight with the May ult and get the enemies to kind of react to it. If you don't like kind of using May ult at the right time, just start with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you used the May ult here and it was wasted because it was just a bit too late.
Yeah.
And you guys lose this, guaranteed.
Yeah, we do.
What is going on there? Okay. Now your team is now in the recontest stage. I told you how to do the recontest stage, so
Yeah, I think we go left side eventually.
I'll just look at this one fight. Well, they don't have May, so you're fine, but they have Doomfist. Have you noticed the Doomfist, by the way?
Yeah, I think we call this out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, quick thing as well. So you guys go into this fight, right, with 2 ultimates, right? So you're looking to use the grav, and then you grav. What's going to happen if you grav? What ultimate is going to be used by the enemy team?
Beat, probably.
Beat. How do you counter the beat?
High noon.
How do you cancel the high noon with their ults? Technically.
They don't have the blizzard. So
Right. They don't. Okay, they'll counter to high noon, right? Is technically shatter, right? Because what happens is, as he's high noon, you shatter him, right? That is technically the counter. The problem is, right, he doesn't have shatter yet. Does he get it in time? We'll see. But anyway, the thing gets countered by this grab has been countered by beat, so they probably survive it. Okay, he did it too late, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and a nade came out. You win this, right? It was a grab, and it was a perfect nade, and the beat was too late, so it didn't save the Doomfist. And by the way, if Ryan just shattered here instead of waiting for the high noon, it could have allowed them to win the fight. But yeah, the nade here was massive, right? This is what basically won them this fight, I think. If they win, they might even survive. Oh, okay, they won that, right? They won that. Yeah, so the shatter came out and they won it. They didn't even need the shatter, in my opinion. They could have waited for the McCree to ult, but yeah, you guys should have definitely won this. But yeah, does that not show you how Beat won in that fight, by the way? If they didn't have that beat, they would have died in that grab, but the extra beat HP kept them all alive. That shows you that beat also counters grab. So beat counters shatter, counters grab. It counters both tank ults nearly all the time. If it was a diva, it'd be a different story. But yeah.
Yeah.
So beat there was useful. Kept them alive. Also, I said earlier how beat was used to counter Reaper roll. Is beat a counter to Reaper roll?
To an extent, you might get killed during casting it.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bit too slow, to be honest, right? It's not actually a counter to reproll in general. It's a counter to Doomfist ult. It's a counter to tank ults, right? How
Yeah.
do you counter reproll then? If there is a counter on your team.
Like a shatter could do.
Yeah. So remember, there's always different ults that can counter different ult. There's always like multiple counters to an ult, right? And
Yeah.
the first counter that's used is where the next ult comes out to counter that ult, right? And it's always like what ultimates are available. But yeah, a shatter can counter it, right? Anything else that you think can counter it?
Like if a blizzard might work. It might be too slow. But if I freeze at the same time, I could freeze him pretty quickly.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. The problem with that is you need to be close then to do that. And obviously, if you're close, you're going to get hit by the Reaper. But yeah, there are counters to Reaper. But also, bear in mind, sometimes ults just don't have counters if you have a different comp. If you guys are playing different comps, there just won't be counters. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes. And sometimes there isn't like an instant counter. The best counter to Reaper, as you were saying earlier, right, sometimes can be just be an ability, right? And
Yeah.
you don't even need to use an ult for it. Anyway, by the way, that is our session over. I went through that fight anyway. There's a lot to kind of pick up there, and I think the main thing that you wanted anyway was to kind of get an idea of how to get back into the game and how to kind of be like, how to actually be motivated to get back into the game. Your May here is good in terms of the walls. The only thing that I've really mentioned here that was bad was the ultimate usage in terms to counter an ult immediately. The moment you hear an ult and you know you can counter it with Blizzard, you need to be using it literally like by the millisecond, okay? Yeah. Do you get this headshot? Oh, you just missed.
Yeah.
Oh, so close. But yeah, does that kind of make sense? Do you have any questions?
No, not really. No.
Any at all? About something that I've missed out, something that you wanted to know for this session?
Like, what do you think? Like, Brawl comps prevalence in the current meta is like with the new patch. Do you think?
I can't tell you that because I can't tell you that because people just don't know, right? When a new patch comes out, the first thing contenders teams do, right, is just try out different stuff, right? Try out like Brawl, try out, like dive with another character, stuff like that. I don't know at the moment. You'd have to wait and see. In my opinion, right? Well, actually, I want to hear your opinion first because I have an opinion. I just don't know if it's going to be correct.
Yeah, I think Brawl could be used to a certain extent with like the bulldozer comp that was used at certain points in the Gauntlet in EU. I think like Ryan Monkey with the Lucio Beppen thing, like that version of Brawl. I think could.
That's an interesting ball. I do find that one interesting. I need to look into that really because it's just an interesting comp that comes out because I really don't like Bap in that comp, to be honest. But that could be an interesting one. I think spam is going to be good though. I think Orisa survivability now is insane, right? And if we look at the patch notes again, right? Obviously, you could say like, oh, Reaper was buffed, but you could also say Reaper was nerfed, right?
Yeah, like his tank busting capability is probably reduced a bit.
Yeah. This is like a Reaper birth and nuff, buff and nerf.
Yeah.
Winston technique. Obviously, this is obviously a Winston buff, right? So you could say like, oh, Winston sees more, less wrecking ball, which is what you want to see. But I think the biggest one is this. This is insane, right? Yeah. Do you know how insane this is, right? With Orisa, like. Pros were showing it as well on Twitter. They were showing how basically unkillable Orisa is now when she presses shift, right? Shift from Orisa now is literally like, oh, you can't kill him anymore. You can't kill him anymore. Good luck.
Yeah.
This is the stupidest thing that got released on Twitter, right? I'm following or I interact with a lot of like the contenders kind of teams and players. So like, like Obey. I mean, the first person to make a post about this was like Lethal. Right, Obey Lethal. Okay, and he was showing how actually unkillable Orisa. I know he was giving like a super specific example.
Yeah, I saw the
point
tweet.
He was, the point he was trying to make was that Orisa now, before if she used shift, there was still a way to kill her. Right, if she was low already, there was a way to kill her. Now, the Orisa could be like on 200 HP. If she uses shift, she's just unkillable still. Like it's ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this fortify change is insane, especially because they didn't decrease the duration or anything. So I think spam is going to be like very good comp now. It's
technically, if you look at these patch notes, all of these changes are tiny changes to like one hero each. The biggest change is this Orisa one, though, which could mean that Orisa sees play again, which is spam. By the way, what was the counter to spam? Do you know what comp counters spam?
Like double bubble. Maybe?
Dive.
Like
Dive
monkey.
counters spam.
Yeah,
right?
dive.
You just have to think dive. Dive counters spam, right? And the Wrecking Ball is now dead, right? And Wrecking Ball was a big counter to spam because Wrecking Ball could roll through a spam comp and just split them apart instantly, right?
Yeah.
If Wrecking Ball isn't, I mean, knockback strength being reduced, that is the biggest buff to spam I've ever seen. Because you would pick Wrecking Ball, for example, on like Horizon Luna. Here's the best example of how it counters spam. You would play spam on defense, right? Then Wrecking Ball would just go through space and just boop everyone off, right? That's I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's a buff now because of that. What I'm trying to say is that's a good example of how dive with ball countered spam, because ball would just split them up immediately. Now you've nerfed the split up potential and you've buffed the spam. Watch spam become meta. Just watch it. Okay, that's what I think. I think Rush will still be good because just a buff to one character in spam doesn't mean spam is the auto win comp in every comp. It doesn't mean that, right? It doesn't change it that much. What it does mean though is spam will be played more, and if spam is played more, Rush is played less because spam counters Rush. Does that make sense? I think you can still, as you said, right? I think you can still play like a Winston type of dive to counter the spam. I think that's also kind of one thing that you'll be able to see, like the OG Winston Diva again to counter like spams comps if they become prevalent, right? But I don't know yet. But that's the answer to your question.
Yeah,
okay?
I think I watched like a top open division game. Like with, do you know who Braven is? Like he's like a.
I used to be on this team. Yeah. And me and him were on Raw Esports. We were on Raw Esports with Eli, and Lethal was on that team as well. Lethal actually replaced Braven, but this was just like wait, what the? I've just been sent a virus. But anyway, brilliant. Anyway, continue.
I think he streamed some of his open division games, like pretty high.
What team is he on now, actually? And yeah, he did do that. He used to do that as well when we were all on Raw. Him and Eli used to stream their games as well. But yeah, it's good. It's actually a really good way to see the meta, because actually the first teams that kind of like figure out metas quickly are like top open division teams, or not top open division teams as much as like trials teams and contenders are the ones to like be in there more than Overwatch League teams. By the way, contenders players have more motivation than Overwatch League players. Once you get into Overwatch League, right, you realize that it just becomes depressing. It is like, I know the exact kind of schedule of an Overwatch League player, and it is hell. It's literally like a full-time job. Like, in my opinion, if I was an Overwatch League player, I would hate the game and I would just want to quit. And that's why a lot of them do, right? I mean, I know a lot of them don't get picked up, but yeah, it's awful for like the mental health and just like actually liking the game. You will hate it by the time you pick it up, because there's nothing above Overwatch League, really. So whereas contenders players have a massive motivation to become Overwatch League, Overwatch League, there's nothing above. The motivation disappears as much, and it's just like hell schedule. But yeah.
It probably varies by team though, like the schedule and.
Oh yeah. I think the schedule I knew about was the Atlanta Reign. That was the one I knew. But I think it's actually very similar between teams. Very similar, because it's not like it wasn't team based, right? The schedule. It was literally like, right, wake up at like, from what I remember, it was something like wake up at 9, right? Team meeting at like 10, then like scrims at like 11, then break at like 12. Well, wasn't it? I think it was like 12 or 1. Then it was like scrims again, then VOD review, then scrims again. It was like 3 blocks of scrims. It was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Any other questions, or is that it?
No, I think it's fine.